Welcome back, true believers and all you merry Marvelites out there, to another very interesting discussion-related video, which is why I'm showing my face again, because I do want to kind of just talk off the top of my head with what I've been thinking recently in the past few weeks that have been surrounding this particular game. And of course, as you should know by now, I'm mainly referring to the Avengers project, or Marvel's Avengers, being made by Square Enix, Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Marvel Games, Nixie Software, and the other studio, Crystal Northwest. So a total of 6 studios working on this game. Of course, we all know the drill, and obviously I'm excited for it. I got the VIP badge from E3, can't even put my finger to it, and my desktop cover is the amazing lithograph concept art that I was able to get while I was attending San Diego Comic-Con, which was amazing, and I'm very honored to have met the people who are working on this game, because the main thing that I do see from them, including the main creative director, Sean Eskai, as well as the main cast, Nolan North, Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, Travis Willingham, and Jeff Shine, and of course all the people at Marvel Games and all the other studios working on this title, like I got to interview Noah Hughes. So I have been invested within this game ever since it was announced back in 2017, and now we have an official release date for it ever since E3 of May 15th, 2020. So things are kind of looking good for it. What you would expect from a AAA Marvel game, and the teams behind it with their past with Tomb Raider and these other games like, I don't know if you know this, but Gex or any of their other smaller titles, or Square specifically, they've done Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. So these are big companies working on a big product, the Avengers, probably the highest grossing brand of characters in recent years, ever since Avengers Endgame passed Avatar as the highest grossing film of all time. So the Avengers hype is at an all-time high. It's through the roof. People are super stoked for everything related to the Marvel brand with Phase 4, with the movies. And people, like myself, within the video game realm, are hyped with Spider-Man PS4, now the highest selling superhero video game of all time. The people love that game, and it was only an exclusive on PlayStation 4, yet it's the highest selling superhero game of all time ever made. So, you would think that with the Avengers being super hyped up as of right now within the current market, and this AAA Avengers game being made by some pretty good developers and publishers, things should be looking amazing. Things should be being received incredibly well for this game. It's the Avengers, it's made by really great developers. What's not to get hyped over? Sad thing is, it's really a difficult situation in regards to the game's marketing, because as you see from the title, the biggest problem with the game, I'm not worried about the gameplay whatsoever, because we haven't really seen a whole lot of it in action, and what they keep saying, there's going to be a lot of upgrades to customize your characters and customization to change the appearances of your characters. So what we saw with Savage Hulk, Normal Hulk, Hulk as Mr. Fix-It, Viking Thor, Original Sin Iron Man, Classic Black Widow, and, scale suit Captain America. So even though the costumes themselves aren't as, exciting to look at as that of the movie counterparts, for me personally, if you guys like them, that's awesome. I think my favorite 2 are Hulk and Black Widow. The other 3, Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America, I'm a bit indifferent towards. But for the gameplay and the customization, I'm not worried in the slightest, because all the Tomb Raider games, especially the first one that Crystal made in 2013, was really, really good, and I really did like what they did with Lara Croft's story. The story itself, speaking of which, is that they are trying to focus more on that than the gameplay, which is kind of the problem that we are experiencing so far for an Avengers video game, is that they're really focusing on the story, which is fine, because we gotta know what the story actually is to get invested in this version of the Avengers, because it's not the movies, it's not the cartoons, it's not the comics, it's their own unique spin on who the Avengers are with their own original story, which is very cool and very sophisticated, and just like Spider-Man PS4, it really invested people in that universe. The problem is that for a video game, they should be focusing on the gameplay, what you would expect, playing an Avengers game, especially with what they keep saying. You can play this game online with your friends, or single player as a, solo individual with just these story-focused missions for years to come. They have said this multiple times. For years to come, you can play this game. And even though they did say all the heroes and regions are free, there will be microtransactions, most likely in the form of costumes. So if you want to wear a costume that looks awesome, probably from Avengers Endgame or something, there might be some microtransactions put behind that specific suit. But in terms of the gameplay, I'm sure they're going to nail a lot of mixing back and forth between the playstyles of, like, the fluidity of, for example, with Black Widow. and then compared to the super amount of strength you can do and damage that you can execute as the Incredible Hulk. So I do think they will mix all these playstyles together in a really fluid manner, especially considering there will be even more heroes like we know so far of Miss Marvel, most likely Hawkeye. I can almost definitely confirm that there will be Black Panther and Doctor Strange too. I mean, it just makes sense for an Avengers game. So there's going to be a really big cast of characters and heroes that people will love to play as. Like, people have been begging for a AAA Black Panther game or a AAA Doctor Strange game. And it should be amazing because it's Avengers, so you can play as everyone with your friends. Sorry for the voice crack, but it's really difficult to talk about this game without getting super excited. But there's a big problem, is that people know what the past is with Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, with what they've done with Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Tomb Raider, all this stuff, and they keep saying that as a selling point. So they've worked on these games, and it's going to be a game that you can focus in however long you choose. Choose however you want to play it, customize your own team of Avengers, and it's great. The problem is two things. One is that they announced it way too early in classic Square Enix fashion. In 2017, January 2017, the first month of the year, said, hey, we've got this Avengers game coming out, but we will not show any more info about it until 2018. So I'm like, that's fine. And in fact, they actually at that point had a step up against Spider-Man before that game released, because at the time we were waiting for more info about Spider-Man. And we had to wait until E3 2017 to actually see more footage of the game with the Mr. Negative helicopter chase demo, the construction site demo, which was awesome. But at the time, we were still waiting for information, and we didn't know when we were going to get it. So the fact they said in 2017 we were actually going to 100% get more information about the game during 2018 was a huge relief. So, okay, it's a little CG or a little miniature in-engine teaser trailer for the Avengers. We have no idea what's going on. That's fine. Year of silence with no updates. That's fine, because they said we will learn more about it in 2018. 2018 comes, still nothing. And even in the Game Awards, December 2018, we thought we were finally going to get it. Avengers Endgame has a trailer the next day, and then we'll have this Avengers game be announced. But no, instead we got Ultimate Alliance 3 announced, and then the Avengers game was nowhere to be heard or seen from. Major red flag right then and there, especially considering that the creative director himself of Sean Eskai said also in 2018 that we were going to get an update about the game relatively soon in that year. Didn't happen, so twice they said we were going to get something in 2018. Never happened in the slightest, and instead, we waited all the way until E3 2019, where out of the blue, they said, hey, our Avengers game, remember that? It's actually happening, and we're going to show footage of it at E3. Problem is, even though they showed the story trailer for the game and said all this stuff, it's going to be free with extra heroes, extra regions added continuously, free, that's great, but the gameplay was behind closed doors. That's the biggest problem with that, because even though E3 and Comic-Con are these places where people can actually see this footage be shown off in, really private settings, which is a very cool experience for people like myself who are able to go to these conventions, the majority of the people who are going to buy this game aren't able to go to these things, and frankly, may not even know about these conventions in the first place, like E3 and Comic-Con, and mainly, the problem I'm having is with Gamescom. So, we've already seen this demo twice, and for me personally, I was already a bit agitated because I went to E3, I got that lanyard, which is very, very cool, and it's cooler because Kamala Khan is actually wearing that exact lanyard in the game itself, which is a very cool item to have as like a piece of memorabilia. But we saw this gameplay demo of the Golden Gate Bridge at E3 behind closed doors. It was in pre-alpha stages, so that's why I'm not worried about the graphics or anything of the gameplay, because surely in a year's time, they'll have it at the best possible setting it can be and have people play it and actually feel, oh yeah, this is a fully polished product, which is fine. Then we get the same exact thing, only with the addition of Kamala Khan being revealed at Comic-Con. And for me personally, after seeing it at E3, like, why would you not show something different to kind of hype up another aspect of the game? Maybe reveal another character that people were wondering if is going to be the game, like Hawkeye or Black Panther or something. But no, they showed the same gameplay demo, just with a bit more polished graphics and Kamala Khan. And then they showed all the other stuff behind the scenes, like the skins and the alternate suits that you can wear behind closed doors. So even the panel itself was private for only the Hall H attendees, which I understand Comic-Con does this all the time. They do it with all the Marvel stuff, including the games. But the problem is we have no idea what the gameplay looks like for the public. The public themselves, who aren't able to go to these events, have no idea what the game plays like. But which is a funny comparison, is that Spider-Man PS4 had the same type of Hall H treatment last year, and during that panel, we saw the story trailer, which was revealed to the public afterwards, and then they also showed the opening cutscene of the game. Funny enough, I don't recall anyone leaking the opening cutscene of Spider-Man PS4 from Comic-Con to the public, and the reason is because people were respecting the wishes of the developers, because at the time, we already had the main E3 2017 demo, and the Game Informer footage, and the E3 2018 RAF demo, so all this gameplay was shown for Spider-Man, and people say, you know what? That Hall H cutscene was only for the crowd at Comic-Con, so we will not leak it. But the story trailer was revealed to the public, so it's great. So we do have some stuff to go off for the game. Avengers, similar problem, which is the second reason. The first reason is that it's because it's so secretive and that they had no footage of gameplay shown to the public even after they confirmed that we would get more info in 2018. So that's the first red flag. Didn't happen twice. And the second red flag is that gameplay is what matters most to people who want to buy a game. So you can talk about the story all you want. You can talk about the narrative aspects that you will dive into with the characters all you want, which is fine. You know, Thor is going to go through this am I worthy stage after the A-Day event. Hulk doesn't want to become an Avenger again, given what happens. Black Widow is her own spy. Tony is kind of in this depression rut, and Cap is dead. So there's all this narrative intrigue that should excite people about the Avengers, which is fine. But we don't know what the gameplay looks like. At least for the public doesn't know what the gameplay looks like. I do, because I've seen it twice now at E3 and Comic-Con, and then again, they'll show the exact same demo a third time at Gamescom, which will then be revealed to the public, which will then be the fully polished version of the demo. And it's even weirder because the gameplay at Comic-Con is also confirmed by the developers themselves to be in the pre-alpha stages of its development. So even with the visual quality there, I'm not worried about how the gameplay will turn out graphically, physically once you're actually able to play it, visually, anything like that, because the developers know what they're doing in terms of making the game as best as it can be. The problem is the marketing that they're going with. It's really weird that when Gamescom comes around, either in late August or early September, when they will reveal the gameplay to the public, like everyone can actually see the gameplay, we'll have already seen it twice. Once at E3, which got badly leaked, but now the gameplay is still leaked online. The Comic-Con gameplay is still leaked online for YouTube that people can look up and watch. And that's really weird, especially if they don't want people to see it, take the video down. But they're keeping the video up of the gameplay, and people, surprisingly, like it. What a shock, because when they reveal gameplay to people, people enjoy it. Even though they understand that it's still being worked on, it's still in the pre-alpha stages of its development, people at least appreciate seeing what the game is. And that's why I've run polls on Twitter like, are you guys excited for the game? Are you going to buy the collector's edition now that they revealed parts of it during Comic-Con? And most people logically answered no, or they're going to wait for more info. No one's going to buy the collector's edition of the game if they don't know what the gameplay actually is like. So even though if you're super hyped for the Avengers game, that's amazing. And I've seen the footage twice actually in person at E3 and Comic-Con, and then we'll see it again at Gamescom. The marketing for this game is kind of hindering the overall success that it could potentially have. All this stuff they're saying too, the developers and the president of Square Enix himself, Yosuke Matsuda, I think his name is, they're like, oh, we're going to surpass Spider-Man in terms of quality. It's going to be Game of the Year level quality of a game. The story's going to be super emotional and hard-hitting. So they're saying all this stuff. They're saying all this exciting details about the game to make you wanting to go out and buy it. But again, the whole premise is show, don't tell. Show, don't tell is the main factor that they should be focusing on. And in my opinion, they're showcasing the story a lot, which is fine. But you also got to show the gameplay to people that don't know what it actually plays like. And I'm sorry, but given the time that we're going to have to wait until Gamescom in August, I think it'll be a little bit too late. Like, okay, this is the same footage that got leaked to Comic-Con. It just looks a bit better now. And people online who aren't patient enough to wait a full month have already seen the gameplay been leaked twice. So it's a very weird situation that they've put themselves in. The cast seems super passionate about it. And even themselves, I'll try and put a clip up if I can, but even the main cast, Troy Baker and Nolan North themselves, like, they gotta tell people that this is gameplay, that this isn't just scripted, this isn't just like something that you can do in a cutscene. No, you are controlling this footage that you're seeing on screen, with Hulk throwing these people, with Black Widow fighting Taskmaster, with Iron Man flying. That's gameplay. You gotta tell people that.
The seamless move from gameplay, like from that combat, like fighting Taskmaster, I was like, surely this is it's a really scripted video. Like, no, dude, you're on the stick, you're actually fighting. I was like, you need to be telling people this, because everything they saw there was on the stick, in-game actual fighting.
But you're right. You know, you should tell people more that that's gameplay. It looks so good.
Gameplay. And they went in and out of the cinematic content that we got to do seamlessly. So you're straight into the story, straight into the game really, really quickly.
They said that, and it's really, really weird that the marketing team isn't focusing on that exact same aspect. Show people what the game is. Show people what you can do as the Avengers. Show people why you are excited about this game. Not tell them, oh, I'm the creative director, Sean S. guy, who's super nice, but he's saying, a great question actually from Greg Miller, like, what is this game to you? Like, what does it mean to you to be working on an Avengers game? And they say the same thing over and over again, like, you can play as the Avengers, you can play as Earth's Mightiest Heroes, team up with your friends in this co-op journey or single player online, customize, all this stuff, and it's awesome. It's like, you've said this 3 times already. We understand what this is. At this point, we get it. But show people what that means to you, and show them the footage that you're proud enough to make, to develop, to the public. Not just these behind closed doors showcase demos, which is fine for a time being, but then you have to eventually, which we will in August, show the footage to people who need to get convinced to buy this game. There's a lot of people still hesitant, like, do I want to buy the Avengers? Do I want to, invest all my money in the collector's edition of this game, even though we don't know the actual gameplay yet for the public? So that's a really concerning problem that the marketing has kind of made for themselves. And, this PS4 stuff, obviously, if it relates to Spider-Man, it's going to have a major sales push because people love Spider-Man. And if Spider-Man is an exclusive character to the PS4, and definitely since you can get early beta access on the PS4, there's a lot of benefits in that realm. But again, they're not telling people what this is. They're not discussing what the future plans are. All they're saying continuously, do you guys want to know when you can pre-order the collector's edition? Do you guys want to know what the PS4 benefits are? You'll find out at a later date. And it's like, well, then if that's the case, if we're going to find out in a later date in, coming months, what they've said on their official Twitter page, like, oh, more info about the collector's edition will be in the fall. More info about the PS4 benefits will come in the coming months. So if you're going to save it for the months ahead of time, why even bring it up? Why discuss people's hype without showing what we should be hyped about? You know what you understand? Like, it's a really odd predicament. I'm really interested in this game. I'm just very off-put by the way that they're marketing how you should be hyped for the Avengers. And the Avengers should speak for themselves, which I think is what they're going for, actually, is that, oh, it's the Avengers, so people will buy it regardless. Which, granted, yeah, in a way, they're kind of right, but that doesn't mean that you should try and hold off what the product is and keep it in secret so long for the general market, for the general public that are going to buy this game. For E3 and Comic-Con, it's fine for a time being, but you still have to show that to the people who aren't able to go to these events. And, all we have left now is Gamescom, New York Comic-Con, probably something at the Game Awards, and then a Game Informer, a month of coverage of the game, and then May, and then that's it. The game's out in less than 10 months, I believe, at this point, and I don't know. It's a really weird predicament that they put themselves in, and I really hope that they can continue to, push the game forward and try and excite people, which is fine, but I just hope it all works out for them, and I really hope that you, the viewers, are excited for the game in the future once they reveal the footage at Gamescom. Because right now, I think the general consensus is they're excited, but they're still hesitant, cautiously optimistic. In fact, that's how exactly I feel, is that I love the developers working on this game, Marvel Games, all the way. They're super kind-hearted and passionate about the games that they work on. Crystal seems great. I interviewed Noah Hughes at E3. He's an awesome guy. The cast seems super passionate. I met them at Comic-Con. They're super nice. And Laura Bailey knows about the Spidey Squad, so I'm crying. But still, I just hope that the final product with the marketing, what they're doing right now, is very confusing for me personally, because I do have a big investment with games and their marketing. But I really hope that by the time May comes around next year, or April, or whenever, you know, they show more footage of the game before the actual release date is actually well worth it, and I hope people can actually fully invest themselves in this game and get hyped for what this game has in store. But anyways, guys, that was my thoughts on the biggest problem so far relating to the Avengers project. Mainly, its marketing is the biggest problem so far, but please let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you want to see from this game to fully convince you to buy it or pre-order it or anything to fully invest you like this is going to be Game of the Year quality? I'm super excited. If you already are, that's great, but if you have some issues, please let me know, and I would love to hear all your thoughts. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Avengers-related videos coming soon. Stay spectacular, Merry Marvelites. Peace out.